Does the pump matter? And if it does, should you emphasize on it? Scientifically speaking, maybe. Bro science, maybe. Hypothetically, it could. All jokes aside, I like getting a pump. I feel like it's an indication if you've had enough water throughout the day, enough carbohydrates throughout the day. If you're training hard enough to obtain a pump, it lets you know that you're pushing yourself in the gym to force enough blood volume into the area to see improvement for a minimal amount of time through the swelling of your muscles from blood gorging the area. So I think that there is a huge benefit. Speaking bro scientifically, I think there is a massive benefit to getting a pump.
I think there's pros and cons. You're so technical. Me, I'm like, I got a pump. I feel all good. And then I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh no, I still look like dog poop.
Well, speaking of pros and cons, I think the cons are whenever you lose the pump, you've seen everything that you could be and the potential of what is possible. And that's the con. So when you lose the pump and the next day when you wake up, you don't look like how you look like in the gym, it can be very deflating, defeating, and it can be very discouraging whenever it comes to losing the pump versus seeing yourself with the pump. The pros of the pump, I would have to say, are what I said earlier. It's a good indication that you're hydrated, you got enough carbohydrates, and you're pushing yourself in the gym hard enough to get some type of results and some type of benefit out of your training session.
Well, for me, I think it's discouraging because feel my pump, but then I don't have any muscle definition.
Yeah, but that will come over time. Like as you work out and your muscles get bigger and you start to get bigger muscle storages where you can hold more glucose, that will start to happen. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a point in time that when you're on a cut and you're on a big enough deficit and doing enough cardio, you're going to get flat, you're going to get deflated, and it's going to be very, very, very difficult to get a pump, let alone maintain a pump during your training session. It's definitely an off season thing or like a maintenance thing. You can still get it whenever you're getting ready for a show or you're cutting or you're leaning or you're in the middle of a big cut and you're dropping weight like crazy, but you will eventually get flat and it will be a lot harder to get a pump. Not saying that you can't, but the biggest indication of a pump is if you get enough carbohydrates and fluid. If you're not getting enough carbohydrates and fluid during the day, it seems almost impossible to get a pump, let alone maintain one.
Right. I mean, it is nice when you do get a pump and then you do see a little something because for me, it keeps me pushing. It keeps me wanting to go because I'm like, oh, I see a little line. I should keep going.
Yeah, so like for me, and that's the thing too about like trying to get a pump. Doesn't matter what supplements I've taken in the past, nothing works for getting a bigger pump except for the three main ingredients, I think, and that is fluid, sodium, and carbohydrates. And they're all linked together. Carbohydrates are glucose. It's pretty much uh, muscle volume in the form of water in the tissue. Sodium helps draw fluid into the tissue, and the fluid itself binds with carbohydrates and it binds with sodium and it pulls into the tissue. And I think that if you're missing one of the three, it can affect your pump greatly. And this also can affect your performance in the gym. So if you don't have the nutrients that you need to push hard in the gym and not obtain a pump, it can affect your performance, which can affect your growth and it can affect your overall results. And it's not saying that a pump is going to be the indicating factor if you're growing or not, but if you are in a growth phase and you are trying to get bigger and you cannot get a pump and you cannot maintain a pump, then you really need to reassess your nutrition and what you're doing because of it should be the easiest thing to get a pump and maintain a pump, especially in a growth phase, because you should be getting enough of the three. And if you're not, you really need to figure out why, because it's going to pretty much help keep you from getting injured as well. Because if you're properly hydrated, you're going to be less likely to hurt yourself or something be dry or brittle or something of the sort.
Speaking of pumps, did you happen to check yours out, like measure your arms or anything?
Yes, I did. My left arm measured out to 18 and a quarter, and my right arm measured out to exactly 18 inches.
Wow. So the lefty went up some because last time it was just 18, right?
Yeah, I was 18. Well, I was right. I was like 17 and 7/8, and I was like 18 and an eighth ish, somewhere around there. But definitely got a little bit more size on my left. Of course, I ate a bunch of food for like about 4 or 5 days. I was overeating. I took a couple of days off of the gym. I arrested. My body weight shot up like 13, 14 pounds. So, of course, I'm going to have a bigger, more massive pump tonight. And it's all just because the pump. Next week rolls around and I got a whole like 2 weeks of carb cycling in and my weight's dropped. My pump probably won't be as big. So I'll probably be back down to where I was, or at least close to where I was previously.
Is that going to be discouraging, like you're talking about?
No, if I look leaner and my muscles look harder, they will actually in turn look bigger. So especially the smaller my waistline gets, the illusion is my arms look bigger the smaller my waistline looks.
You're very like, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word I'm looking for. But it's good that you have that like aspect and that mindset, because me, I would be discouraged personally.
Well, being in the cut, I know I'm going to lose size. I know that I'm not going to be able to, like, don't get me wrong. I've been growing in these last 25 weeks. I went from 17 and a quarter up to 18 inches. So I have actually grown on my arms significantly, like a massive amount, which is insane to grow 3/4 of an inch on your arms in a cut. So I know like that's actually like unheard of almost. So I know there's going to be a stalling point or even like a reversal where it kind of starts coming backwards the other way as I start to lean out and get flatter and flatter until I fill back out and get those carbohydrates. But carb cycling and getting 1,000 carbohydrates on Sunday, it makes it easy to maintain that size and the volume and the muscle from the fluid. And a lot of people, like, I guess they miss the point whenever they don't realize muscles are 70% water. Carbohydrates are 2-part water. So if you're eating 1,000 grams of protein a day, 500 grams of protein a day, it won't make a difference if you're getting 0 carbohydrates. Excess protein metabolizes into glucose, which is sugar, which is carbohydrates, at a very slow rate. It's very difficult for the body to convert protein into glucose. So by doing that, you're actually robbing your muscles of what they're made of, and that's water, 70% water. Take in consideration having a balloon. If you take a balloon and then you add more material to the balloon, does the balloon get bigger? No. The sidewalls get thicker, sure. But does the balloon itself get any actually bigger? No. Now take that same balloon and fill it full of water. Does the balloon get bigger? Absolutely it does. So water to a water balloon is glucose and fluid to your muscles. Your muscles are just water balloons. That's all they are. So eating more protein isn't going to make the volume bigger. It's going to make the material thicker. What is the driving factor of what makes your muscles bigger is volume, cell volume, and you have glucose storages in the muscle. The bigger you can make your glucose storages, the more glucose you can hold, the bigger and fuller they look. You don't believe me? Cut all your carbohydrates out for a week. You will drop 10, 15 pounds in that first week. You're going to look flat, you're going to be deflated, and you're going to feel like crap, and you're going to be exhausted and tired. After 7 days of that, eat 1,000 carbohydrates. You're going to shoot up 10, 12 pounds in one day, and then you're going to be veiny, vascular, depending on your leanness and your vascularity to begin with. And you're going to look like completely different than what you did the day before. Well, it takes 32 to 48 hours for glucose to fully absorb it in the muscles. So what happens is on that day, let's say Sunday, let's say Monday through Saturday, you get 0 carbohydrates. And then Sunday, you get 1,000. Well, Sunday, you're going to look flat, deflated with a big belly, and you're going to look bloated, and you're going to look like a pot-bellied pig with no muscle. Monday, Tuesday, it's going to absorb, and then you're going to fill out, and you're going to get the best pumps, and you're going to look amazing and feel amazing. It's if you don't believe me, try it. It's you're just a big water balloon. That's all you are. And eating more water balloon material won't make your water balloon bigger. You have to stretch the material. So, in my mindset, with that logic, training the muscle to get the biggest pump that you could possibly get makes the most amount of sense.
Right.
A lot of these people talk about getting these deep stretches, these massive stretches, extreme stretching. You got to get these huge, massive stretches. But again, if you take a balloon and you don't fill it up with water and you stretch it from left to right as far as you can go, does the balloon get bigger? No, it gets skinnier. It lengthens. It thins out. Right. Mm-hmm. But if you let that balloon go, then you fill it up with water. What happens? It gets bigger. So I don't think stretching is the key, because your muscles can only stretch to a certain length, right? Let's take your bicep. It ties into your shoulder. It ties into your elbow. And then the muscle tissue turns into tendon, and the tendon ties into the bone. For those of you who don't know, The tendons are the ends of your muscles. So the tendon actually connects to the bone itself, and then the tendon runs up to where the muscle fibers start, and then it turns into muscle tissue. And then whenever you flex your muscle, what happens is it pulls the bones together, causing the muscle to contract and shorten and ball up, bringing the bones together. And that's how the muscles work. So if you straighten your arm out, like let's say your bicep, you straighten it out, unless you hyperextend your elbow back the wrong way, you're only going to stretch your bicep as far as the tendons will allow it to stretch, which is full length, which is your elbow completely extended. Tell me how your bicep is supposed to get any bigger when it can already stretch to those extremes. No matter what you do during the time of day, you can always stretch your arm to that extreme. I just don't see how that's going to make the muscle any bigger at all. It just doesn't make sense. Now, take the logic of stretching the muscle fibers, but instead of stretching them long ways, like stretching, right? Like stretching a balloon from left to right. And instead of stretching them that way, stretch them outward. How do you stretch them outward? You force more blood in there. Well, how do you get more blood in there? You get more glucose. You get more salt. You get more fluid. You get a bigger pump. Then what's it do? It stretches out the fascia tissue, which encapsulates the muscle fibers, which allows it to stretch the fascia tissue to a larger size. Then eventually the fascia tissue relaxes at that larger state, allowing the muscle fibers to grow to a bigger size, allowing you to absorb more glucose in the muscle, allowing you to eat more glucose, absorb more glucose, and get a bigger pump, stretching the muscle even further. So to me, I think the pumps do matter. I don't think stretching matters. I think stretching the muscle out through a pump matters, not the other way around.
That's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I don't have any scientific things to go over.
Well, I wouldn't really say scientifically. It's just a bunch of reading and
right, but
looking
I'm
at
saying
studies
you're
and research.
a lot more knowledge than I am on this aspect.
Yeah, and someone out there is going to call it bro science. Like, oh, this is some low IQ stuff. This is bro science. This is all bro science. This is the dumbest thing ever is bro science. I mean, you can say what you want, but science is science. And the thing about science is it's a thesis. And no matter how right you think you are, there's going to be 10 other people out there ready to prove you wrong. And they've done this over and over again, like with supplements. We could get in the whole debacle about supplements and which ones work, which ones don't. But all the science at one point showed that all these supplements work. And now all of a sudden the science shows that they don't work. And now it shows that they do work. And now it shows that they don't work. And now it shows that they do work. It goes back and forth. Just like the whole like fat makes you fat. No, cholesterol gives you cholesterol. Cholesterol doesn't give you cholesterol. Cholesterol helps your hormones. No, cholesterol raises cholesterol. No, cholesterol lowers cholesterol. No, cholesterol and triglycerides are bad. No, triglycerides are bad. So it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's all just we're making our best educated guess.
This is what I was going to say, and people are probably going to hate me for this, but science is just an opinion. Because everyone's science is so different. Like you said, one person's going to tell you, like, you can have all this science to lay out and why you're right, and then 10 other people are going to come with their science and why you're wrong. So to me, it's like, is it actually science, or is it like your own opinion?
Yeah, well, you have to prove the thesis. In order for it to be scientific, you have to prove your thesis. So otherwise, like if you pick a stick up and drop it and it falls, it's like, okay, this is the thesis of gravity. If I pick something up and let it go, it's going to fall to the earth. Okay, let's prove that. Let's test this theory. You drop a stick. Oh, look, it still works. Gravity must still be real, right? That's a thesis. You have a theory. You apply
I know what
it.
thesis is. I'm just
well, I know. I'm just saying, like you have a theory. You test it, then you try to replicate those tests over and over and over again. But my whole thing is I kind of agree with you to an extent, because what I'm getting at is who's paying for the studies and what are they?
Me.
Well, and what is the outcome? What are they trying to replicate? Because I have seen studies where they're like, they show a percentage and it's like they don't show the true percentage. So it's just like, in this double blind study, blah, 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 blah. And 90% of people were effective positively, 10% weren't. But then you look at the total group, and what they do is they will reduce numbers from the studies to make the percentages correct.
Yeah, their opinion, to make their opinion right.
Right. So it's just like, how many people were in the study? There was 1,000. How many of them were successful? 90. Cut the study down to 100 people. Say we did a study with 100 people. Now it's 10%. Now it's 10 to 90. Well, it's 90-10. in their favor because they keep the people in the studies that were in their favor. And what is the outcome? These supplement companies, you can argue it all day long, but you can look up the research for L-glutamine, arginine, beta-alanine, branched chain amino acids, essential amino acids, protein powders, all the supplements, and you can look at when everything first started booming and coming out real big and strong, everybody had studies. And then all of a sudden, independent labs started doing studies. And then once independent labs started doing studies with people that were privately funding them, all the research was showing the exact opposite of what everyone else was claiming. So who's doing the study and what are the results they're trying to get out of it? If there's an agenda, they're going to want it to line up with their in their favor.
Their narrative, like with their opinion. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Like studies now in science now is just people's opinions and that they found people that had the same opinions or to prove their point. But then the other person that's against you has their group of people that can prove that your science is wrong. It's just an opinion.
Well, take into consideration smoking. Smoking used to be healthy for pregnant women. Like they would encourage women to smoke. It was healthy. And now it's not. Oh, why? Because the agenda changed because the people doing the studies proved it wrong. That was another study, a stupid study I was going to bring up that's just kind of like, and I just lost my train of thought, but like the cigarette things always crack me up and stuff like that too. But like I said, it just depends on the study, depends on who's performing it, what they're trying to get out of the study because they're chasing the money. Mm-hmm. They want the study results to show what they need so they can push their agenda for money. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying all science is bad science. I think independent studies from privately funded people that are trying to get the real results, I think that's the stuff most people should be paying attention to. If you have a major corporation that comes out and does a study and then it's all like, sunshine and bells and whistles, it's like, well, hold on now. You funded your own study for your own product. And like I said, they did this for supplements for years right. and years and years and years. People.
The funniest thing to me is like 20% of women. I'm like, that's funny. I was never asked.
Yeah.
For which women?
Yeah. Where did they get the percentages?
You didn't ask me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That always cracks me up too whenever they have these studies and it's like, 40% of women or 50% of men, like, where did the 50% come from?
Yeah. Like
who did they ask? Yeah. Like the 4 out of 5 doctors recommend or 4 out of 5 dentists recommends. Like, what did the other one? What was the reason for them not agreeing?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? You can cut the study down as small as you want to show your favor, right? 1 out of 5, 10 out of 100, 100 out of 1,000. It's just one of those things. But we kind of got off topic there. So anyway, so back to the bro science, and I'm a strong believer in bro science. I mean, you can say what you will about it, but the guys in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they had some of the best physiques. But then if you ask the science, they'll tell you they had the worst training and worst diets. So this just doesn't make sense to me. So the guys from the 70s had the worst training and the worst diet, but they had the best bodies ever. The 70s, Arnold, all the guys, Frank Zane, all these guys, the best of the best physiques to ever walk the face of the planet. But wanted to train like them. Oh no, the science shows that's terrible. But today's guys, but then you look at today's bodybuilders and everyone talks trash about them saying they're the worst physiques to ever walk the face of the planet. But all the science is pointing to train the way they train. So hold on. They look the worst, but they train the best. The guys from the 70s trained the worst, but they looked the best. So I shouldn't listen to the guys from the 70s because they're outdated and there was no science to back up what they were doing. Maybe that was a good thing.
No.
Pioneers.
What it really is they're like, it's outdated, it's wrong science. It's because they want you to buy their book or they want you to buy their diet and in their way because it's scientifically proven when it's not.
Yeah, these guys are standing on the shoulders of giants, looking down at others that were there before them and trying to act like they know what they're talking about. And it's the same thing, exactly what you said. It's like, how many ways can you write a book on how to squat? How many people can write a book on the way to squat? No. His way of squatting is outdated. That's not the way to squat. This is the way to squat. This is the way you. No. His squatting is wrong. My squatting is right. No. Hold on. It's like, guys.
You know what's funny though, in regards to the bro science? So this works. That doesn't. It's like we're all so different. What works for you might not work for me. Yep. So is it really science? No, it's what works for you? Because, right, a lot of the old bodybuilders you used to watch all train completely freaking different.
Yep. Well, and um,
Who
dang
was
it,
it that trained their arms like every single day?
a lot of them did.
And then there were some that did it like once a
CT
week.
Fletcher claimed he trained his arms every single day for a year and a half and got 21-inch arms, or 22-inch arms is how he got his arms. Is he trained them every single day? He says, I don't care what you say. That's not the way you do it. That's overtraining, blah, 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 blah. CT Fletcher didn't care. He trained his arms, if according to him,
See?
7 days a week for a year and a half without missing a single day.
Scientifically proven shows that that's not the right way to do it. But
Mm-hmm.
hey, what did his results say for him?
This is what I was going to say. Results don't lie. Doesn't matter what the science says. Results don't lie. Like, I don't care what your fancy degree or what your doctoring education says. Results don't lie. And they just don't. And you can have 100 different people train 100 different ways. And I think what comes down to it at the end of the day is how much effort are you putting into the training? Not the style, but how much effort are you putting into it and how big's your pump?
Well, what I'm saying here is scientifically proven correct because, well, it's my opinion. So,
Well, and also, we're going to leave it with this. Do you even lift?
yeah.
Do you even lift? If you're not chasing bro science and you're not chasing a pump, do you even lift? I mean, that's what you really got to ask yourself.
Word.
And once you find the answer to that question, then you can start your journey. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.